My name's Michael. Good morning to you. I'm here as a representative for BeED. Now BeED is a very, very new product and you probably haven't seen it around in the world today. You know what I look like, but you don't know who my team are. And as you can see, I'm a little bit overdressed, but they've required that I dress up for this event. So I'm going to start off this little talk without me talking and let you have a little idea about what BeED is. So you're probably wondering what on earth is BeED. BeED has been basically around the world at the moment. We've been to the Web Summit in New Orleans. We've been to the Web Summit in Hong Kong, and we went to the final one in Lisbon as well. And every time we were upgraded and sponsored to go have a little chit chat and expose what we are. We're actually travel educational company. We don't just talk about technology, but technology is a very big part of us. And that's what we're here to talk about this morning, about how technology is actually and really should be changing our educational system and our school. How much of that really should we involve in? Should we be a totally technology school where teachers don't exist? That's a bit too much. Or should we not have any technology at all? So that's basically what I want to talk about. Our schools comprise of students. Our students are our clients. If you don't understand who your clients are, then how on earth are you going to serve them best? Mark Prensky talks about them as digital natives. But what are digital natives? I'm certainly not a digital native. I'm actually a digital migrant. I have actually progressed into the digital world. When I started playing things like Second Life, my mom was thinking that I was a bit psycho because I was talking to tons of people and having relationships with them online and saying, hey, but you're talking to a computer. But hey, actually, these are real people behind the screens. So, Mark Prensky actually said, our students radically has changed. Today's students are no longer the people our educational system was designed to teach. That was in 2001, almost 16 years ago. But today, I'm going to ask you, I'm not going to tell you how to run your educational systems, but I'm going to show you a few things that may craft your mind. Now, I'm an academic, so I love my little papers. And this was by Goose in Maryland. And this was talking about the stages of how we as educationalists use technology in education. There are 4 stages mainly. 1, you've got tech as a master. 2, tech as a servant. 3, tech as a partner. 4, tech as an extension of self. Now I'm going to go through these very quickly because it ties into what we do and what we believe in as a company. Tech as a master. You press a button, the computer tells you what to do, you're obsolete. You don't have to do a thing. The machine basically runs you. Nah, not my kind of cup of tea. Then there are those teachers who are not really familiar much with technology. We are probably going to be using calculators, PowerPoint. Now this is Keynote, so it's a little bit different. But the point here being that we're still using it in very mundane, ordinary ways. That's when tech is just a pure servant, dumb, a computer that does not think. Then we go to the third way. This, by the way, is Bloom's Wheel. You can Google it, you can find it. It is a fantastic piece of information you can find on the web. Bloom's Wheel. Now we're talking about tech as a partner. Important word, teachers fitting and using multiple forms of technology to augment your teaching and educating your students. The key word here being fitting. You are fitting many different systems out there. You're going around shopping and you're just taking little systems and plugging it into your educational system. And finally, the last stage is tech is an extension of oneself. When you have absolutely customized each and every technology to how you want to deliver using your particular pedagogical methodologies, so on and so forth, to ensure that your kids are served well. So, I'm going to take you bit by bit to explore what BeED really truly is through 4 different videos. Hope you might enjoy it.
Beedo. Just like most students, he's losing his passion for learning at school. At home, Beedo is struggling to stay motivated. Beedie, Beedo's mom, notices that, and she knew she had just the perfect solution. BeED. BeED gives you the ability to learn where you want, when you want, and how you want. BeED is so easy to use that anyone can be an educator. Beedie identified the subject that Beedo was losing interest in, selected a site that she would like to take him to, and the fun adventure begins. The package Beedie received includes a step-by-step activity guide on the choice of content of the selected site, worksheets, and assignments. Beedo had a great time with his mom, exploring the site and learning more about the subject. Beedie was glad to see Beedo regaining interest in the subject. Empowering parents, empowering children. BeED, empowering the masses.
Places of interests around the world. We apply the syllabi and the content that you teach in the classrooms to the exact places. So if you're talking about, say, the KL Tower, we could put in ratios and we could put in mensurations and lead it all the way up to urban planning. If you're going to take them off to, say, the national park, we could look at ecology and we could teach them how it actually goes into conservation. If you wanted to take them into, say, maybe a solar park, which is accessible to students, we could produce materials to teach children how energy and physics are being transferred, etc., that could be in year 10. All this at the flick of a palm of a hand.
Meet Miss Beeder. She is a teacher at Boodle High School. Miss Beeder is struggling to find good learning experiences for her students. Miss Beeder finds tons of educational travel companies, but finds it hard to customize it to her needs. Beedo sees Miss Beeder stressing out and introduces BeED to her. With BeED, Miss Beeder immediately has options for learning opportunities that she may choose from based on syllabi, level of education, subject matter, and travel learning site she would like to take her students to. Miss Beeder found the most appropriate learning experience, and just by clicking a few buttons, everything was organized. Mr. Booter, the principal of Boodle High School, is happy and approved the purchases because now all purchased content can be shared by the school's teaching community. BeED, empowering schools, empowering the masses.
We all talk about the word experiential learning. But experiential learning doesn't mean experiencing it just in classrooms. We're taking learning out of the classroom. We're breaking down the walls of the classroom. We're actually taking it out there. But who do you think ends up having to organize everything? The teachers. Teachers are already packed with teaching in their classrooms, making sure things are organized, ensuring things are marked. And on top of that, you want them to be travel agents as well. This is where BeED comes into the picture. We ensure one-stop holistic preparations, all from the beginning to the end, to ensure that education is transferred to your students.
Meet Ms. Beeder, a teacher at Boodle High School. Ms. Beeder works hard on and off school. However, she is struggling to make ends meet. Ms. Beeder suddenly recalls the encounter with BeED at school. She realizes that she can make some extra income and even achieve financial freedom by marketing her education materials online. Ms. Beeder immediately enrolled as a content contributor with BeED. Ms. Beeder's content was getting popular and her financial position has improved from the extra income made from BeED. BeED, empowering teachers, empowering the masses.
BeED is also an e-commerce platform for teachers. Who else could talk about this subject matter better than teachers themselves? You yourselves could be contributors. You could write. I am a science teacher. I could personally write about anything to do with science when I'm going up to the KL Tower. I could apply to any single particular place. And the best part about it is BeED will train you for free with the best pedagogical methodologies such as concept-based curriculum, the inquiry cycle by Kathy Murdoch. We use basic, most current pedagogical methodologies in every single learning experience that we use, and we will be giving this out for free to every single teacher and educator that wants to join this movement.
Beedo, Mrs. Beede, Ms. Beeder, Mr. Booter, and every other Beederlicious person involved are grateful as part of the proceeds from their contributions will go to charity to support education around the world, such as building schools, funding teachers, and providing education to the poor. BeED, empowering the masses.
This is the primary ideology of BeED in the first place. BeED, there are so many schools out there. Yes, well, I'm one of the most privileged ones in an international school. I'm a principal of a really good international school, and we've got quite a lot of resource, but out there are none. BeED is here to garner any simple profits that we actually had and give it back to these schools who don't even have a single roof over their head, to go out and give free training to educators around the world to ensure that our next generation really in this world survives. So, I'm been privileged, I'm allowed to use a school that we actually run for. And this will take you a journey of what we actually do. It's Fairview International School. So I'll give you that as a case study that we've just come back from. Fairview International School, for about a week, they take these kids all out to places around Southeast Asia 2 times a year. We move about 800 students at one time to all the different locations around the world. At the same time, their material needs to be linked to syllabi. That means particularly what are the strands inside the syllabi itself. Classes need to be conducted at the places itself. So if they're talking about the Angkor Wat, it could well be learning about first class leavers, second class leavers, third class leavers, and lessons must be taught at the point itself. That in itself experiential learning. Fairview also insists that there must be feedback. We're teachers. We're all about the feedback, and we need to give them instant feedback. Nowadays, it's about the now. But what are the problems that they faced? The first problem was some of the guys couldn't speak English. And when they could speak English, you couldn't hear anything that they said in the first place. because you were in a big, noisy area. So where does the learning take place? The nada. It didn't work. Second of all, they were going basic. Tons and tons and tons of paper were being used. Trees were being chopped. Kids were trampling on their booklets. Books not working anymore. They were bringing out pencils and pens and trying to scribble it everywhere. It just wasn't working. Then we've got the teachers. Every single night they will take all these books, these 800 books, and start marking it at night and giving feedback. Can you imagine after a full day of taking care of the kids? They've got to be marking this. And finally, even before the trip started, they were dead on the floor. They were trying to compare prices, look at contracts, comparing flights. This was just not happening. That's where BeED comes in. In the first stage, BeED asks, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? What are the subjects you want to involve? How many kids? Then you rest back. We will come up and we will give you the proposals, what subjects, which places to visit, how to map the route, what timings you need to go to, what are the topics that you need to have, what applications of these topics that you need to put in as well. From there, we will say, okay, this is the entire plan. Are you happy with it? School says, yeah, we love it. We'll choose this. Second phase. Because the teachers already know what we're going to be teaching on the site itself, they start preparing it in class and getting them to know scaffolding. So when they go to the site itself, they know exactly what to do. In the meantime, BeED goes out and does risk assessment. You have no idea how many times I've seen schools go out without a proper risk assessment. You're taking other people's children. You need to know what the dangers are. You need to prepare the children on what the dangers are. We use the Derbyshire system, and also we merged it with the UN school trip risk assessment template. Then after that, you brief the parents and the teachers what exactly you're going for. Then we go on board. On the site itself, you don't need a Wi-Fi, you don't need internet. These kids will already have all their systems and all their learning on their mobile apps, whether they want to bring an iPad or a phone. It can be done offline, so you don't need internet. I repeat that. They go to the site itself, they turn it on. Some of the places they put one ear in, it speaks good English, thank God, or in whatever language that you need it to speak. You hear it. It goes through the inquiry cycle of knowledge, applying the action where you take pictures, or you do some measurements, you do some experiments on the site itself, and finally a reflection, Kathy Murdoch style. And these reflections will be higher order thinking with debatable questions that would allow you to be able to put into your knowledge journey. This is a culmination of the entire trip. These apps, every time at night, they just turn it on the Wi-Fi in the hotel, it syncs to a hub. The teacher doesn't even need to be at the site itself. It could be halfway across the world. But it will come up on this mega hub, which you can see at our booth, and we can demonstrate it for you. And they can give you feedback. Easy. At a flick of a thumb. So, and then on top of that, you can print if you really still want to. So, very quickly, just checking, I've got 10 more minutes. So, at Second and Master, we've got a whole library for you. We will tell you exactly what to do. You could choose to tell us what you want to do, and we will do what you need us to do. You could, in fact, use all our systems, from the journals, the hubs, and the tools that we have on the system to cater to your needs. Or the last phase is, you could write those materials, and we will show you how to write your materials for your kids as well, free of charge. These are some of the things, that we took them on. We get to learn the culture, designated location. The app gives extra information and stores data for future knowledge. And I loved writing reflection because it makes me think of what I learned. My favorite part was there was multimedia content in the knowledge phase. This was what attracted the kids the most because kids needed to see what was happening on the spot. It was a convenient app, and this app was really easy to use. 89% of these kids loved it, and when they did the assessments again in school, we saw a dramatic rise in their results because they were finally engaged. And finally, one of the teachers was saying, the service given to us was good. It was well planned and the organizers were quick to responding to our needs. I could go on and on and on, and I've got testimonies after testimonies. But I think it's come to a point that I could go on and I don't have much time left. I believe that it's time for you to come over to our booth and check us out. Holistic Education by Miller, 1991. The emphasis on life experience and learning beyond the confines of the classroom. That is the culmination act of holistic learning. So the final thing I'll leave you by. Thank you very much for listening to my tirade. We are right here at D16. We hope to see you on board. And thank you very much for your time. Take care.